Our presentation today covers the fundamentals of PL/SQL. This presentation was done by Aaron, Peter, Jessica, Sammy, Kieran, Amanda, and Yasser. All links used in this presentation will be available in the YouTube video description. PL/SQL, which stands for Procedural Language SQL, is a procedural language extension developed by Oracle to give more power to SQL. If you want to perform a logical action, you can use PL/SQL. It is constructed by blocks, the basic unit of PL/SQL, and each block can be nested within each other. This way, SQL statements can be grouped before being sent for Oracle execution. For our first slide, we have a link from one of the Stanford study groups. Here is an example of the basic structure of PL/SQL. The only statements allowed are select, which has a special form to be used, insert, update, and delete. There are also other data manipulation statements that can be used. The executable section, as the slide shows, is the only required section. This section contains constructs such as assignment, branches, loops, procedure calls, and triggers, which we are going to talk about in the next few slides. To describe DML and DDL, we obtained our link from Coders Hubs. PL/SQL language is classified in two types: data definition language and data manipulation language. In this slide, you can see that data definition language consists mainly of commands such as create, alter, drop, and rename that define the structure of database tables and their data. Data manipulation language consists mainly of commands such as select, insert, update, and delete to create, edit, and delete values in previously constructed database tables. For a description on how to query multiple tables, we chose a link from Tech Republic. In this slide, we look at how we can query multiple database tables in PL/SQL. One of the fundamental ideas of querying multiple tables is that there must exist a relation between the tables of interest. This can be done using select and join statements. We can see on the left that when we use the select statement, we can combine results from the multiple tables by finding matching data from both tables. On the right, we can see the join statement is predominantly used for querying multiple tables using a single SQL query. As seen in the slide, different kinds of join statements can be used depending on the requirements. We can also use the union statement and subqueries to query multiple tables. We use union statements to perform queries against several tables and return the results in a consolidated set. This is usually used instead of a join statement when we want to return multiple attributes in one table. Subqueries are used when we want very specific results from a certain query and find union and join statements aren't quite accurate enough to get the results we need. To describe transactions in PL/SQL, we chose a link from Tutorials Point. In this slide, we give a quick overview of transactions. A transaction is a series of SQL data manipulation statements that work on a logical unit. Three important transactions are commit, rolling back, and save points. A commit is used to make permanent changes to a database during the transaction. A rollback executes at the end of the current transaction and undoes any changes made since the beginning of the transaction. A save point command saves the current point to a unique name during the process of a transaction. To describe trigger commands in PL/SQL, we picked another link from Tutorials Point. Triggers are stored programs which are automatically executed or fired when a certain event occurs. Triggers are usually written to be executed in response to a database manipulation statement, a database definition statement, or a database operation. Triggers can be defined on the table, view, schema, or the database with which the event is associated. Some of the benefits of the trigger statement can be seen in the slide. This slide contains the basic syntax of trigger commands that are used in PL/SQL. As you can see from the slide, there are a number of ways trigger commands can be defined in PL/SQL. Our last bookmark is a guide on PL/SQL syntax from Stanford's InfoLab group. PL/SQL allows you to branch and create loops in a fairly familiar way. If statements come in the format if condition, then statement, else other statement, end if, where the else part is optional. Above, we can see the syntax of implementing a multi-way branch, coupled with an example program with a pair of simple if-else statements. Loops are created with the syntax shown on the bottom left of the slide. At least one statement in the loop body section should be an exit statement of the form exit when a condition is met. The loop breaks if the condition is true. The example on the right is a simple way to insert each of the pairs 1, 1 through 100, 100 into the table CS3041. Thanks, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation.